Today we'll be looking at the early life and the current story of Black Ops Russell Adler, who is portrayed by Bruce Thomas. Now, I've been working on these videos to expand our knowledge of the lore within Call of Duty, and we have covered the stories of Modern Warfare and Black Ops from 1961 to 1984. We have looked at the individual careers and the lives of Captain John Price, Sergeant McTavish, and Commander Graves, as well as many more. In order to keep our videos fresh, we will dive deeper into the history of these characters and learn more about them. Thank you for joining me, and welcome to the early life and the story of Russell Adler. Russell Adler was born on February 12, 1937, somewhere in the United States. Now, not much is known about Adler's youth due to the fact that a lot of his life is classified, and he is one of the most mysterious men that the CIA has ever employed. When Adler was only 18 years old, in 1955, he enlisted in the United States Army, and 2 years later, at 20, he would qualify for their special forces. His work would impress many, and by 1959, he was recruited to join the CIA. In 7 years, he would join the elite operators of the CIA, and he became a member of the Special Activities Division. And a year later, he would be assigned to work in Vietnam as part of the MACSOG unit, which was a highly classified operation in Vietnam during the war. The purpose of this operation was to find any traces of Soviet activity in the region. However, during his work in 1968, Adler found intel that potentially meant that Perseus had been there. Now, Perseus was a KGB agent responsible for much destruction across the globe and across history.
Mr. Adler, why should we take this Perseus threat seriously?
You don't have to, sir.
Yeah, then a lot of innocent people are gonna die.
Why do you say that?
Sir, every time Perseus has come into play, it's shifted the balance of the Cold War. After 13 years of silence, if he's active, something big is gonna happen. Something that will affect the free world.
Adler would become obsessed with stopping Perseus no matter what. And after Adler left Vietnam, he would seemingly disappear. However, he would continue to work a number of clandestine operations for the CIA. Adler has been a huge asset for the CIA due to his deep knowledge of covert tactics, fluency in Russian and German, and his mastery of espionage. One of these ops was the raid of Rebirth Island in 1968. Adler was assigned to capture and interrogate Viktor Kuzmin, a Soviet operative in charge of overseeing Nova 6 production on the island. Despite his efforts, Adler was unable to force Kuzmin to disclose any critical information. However, Adler stabbed Kuzmin's left eye with a knife in an act of revenge for what Lev Kravchenko did to Weaver at the Baikonur Kazandrome a few years before. Adler would be in the shadows for a couple of years, and in January of 1981, he would track down Perseus, who Adler believed had become active once again. During this operation, Adler would lead a mission in Turkey alongside veteran operators Alex Mason and Frank Woods. During this op, Adler would get his hands on an operative of Perseus, and a high-ranking one at that. And Adler would take him to a safe house and begin a brainwash process to use him in his hunt for Perseus. The operative would be called Bell, and he would be implanted with the events and memories that weren't his own. So he would believe that he was an American hunting down the Soviets. Through much interrogation and work, Adler would finally get his answers on where Perseus was from Bell, and Bell would be told the truth. However, Adler was able to convince Bell to continue to assist him and hunt down his former commander.
This is your chance to define who you really are, Bell. Where is Perseus?
From the safety of Solovetsky.
Sims, get Washington on the line. Everyone else gear up. We're leaving now. You made the right choice, Bell. Come on. You're still one of us.
Bell would agree, and Adler would lead a team down to the Slovetsky Islands, where Perseus had begun a plot to deploy missiles across Europe. Adler and the team would be successful in stopping these missiles and saving the free world.
They did it, Mr. President. They stopped the nukes.
Thank God.
And the CIA.
Did they get Perseus?
No, sir. His whereabouts are unknown.
And a Russian response?
Nothing yet. We're seeing signs of confusion. It's possible this was all a rogue operation. Perseus may not have been following orders from Moscow.
We did it. This is a message to Perseus and those that'll follow him. We don't just sit back and hope for the best. We'll make the best happen. This is how wars are won, Bell.
But not all was won, as Perseus would elude Russell Adler once again. And after the events in Slovetsky, Adler would take Bell to a cliffside overlooking an ocean and praise him for his heroics.
Clears the head, doesn't it? Bell, you made 2 extraordinary sacrifices to stop Perseus. One was without your knowledge. The other, you made that decision of your own accord. I just want you to know that this little thing that's happened with you and me, it was always for the greater good. You're a goddamn hero, you know that, kid? Heroes have to make sacrifices. That's why when I ask you for one more, I hope you understand. It was never personal.
Now, it is believed that Adler killed Bell as he would want to clean up any loose ends from this operation, and this way nothing would come back to haunt him or the CIA. Now, Adler would return to the CIA and continue his search for the elusive Perseus. 3 years later, in 1984, Adler would arrive in the mall where he found Nova 6 gas, but he would be ambushed by Kuzmin, the Soviet agent that he captured back in 1968.
What the hell? He's manufacturing Nova 6 again.
Kill the rest. Adler is mine.
This time, Adler would be on the receiving end, and he would be loaded up into a helicopter and taken to an unknown location. Adler would be moved around a bit during his time with Kuzmin, but he would eventually be taken to Verdansk, where he would remain for some time. During his capture, Adler would overhear Kuzmin ordering his agents to find him Dragovich's data on brainwashing, and Adler realized that he may be in some serious trouble. 8 days later, Adler would be rescued by Mason and Woods. However, the latter wouldn't know about the brainwashing, and Adler would return to the CIA and continue to do his work. And a few weeks later, on June 26, Adler would head to a crash site in Algeria with other NATO operatives to retrieve a data recorder with valuable information. However, Adler would get to it first and lie about it to his colleagues.
What the hell was that? We're supposed to be a unit.
With Perseus, standard operating procedure goes out the window, son.
Well, did we get the data recorder?
No. Must have been destroyed on re-entry. You don't get the war we're fighting, do you? Stitch is capable of anything. Secure the site.
Due to this, Adler would head back into the shadows, and he began to work alone or off the grid for some time in Verdansk. A little over a month later, Mason would find Adler and capture him. He would take Adler to the same room that Hudson and Weaver took him many years ago to try and restore Adler's mind after they found out that he had been brainwashed or compromised.
You've been off grid since Algeria. What were you doing in Verdansk?
You always find me the best toys.
You can defuse it. Stadium search team. We found more devices.
Kill it. Signal could set this off.
Of course. Seismic charge. Primary rig to blow secondaries in the borehole. Sophisticated. Very nasty. This has CIA written all over it.
I know who did this.
Tough son of a bitch won't talk. Let's start the real work.
I did what you cowards wouldn't. Stitch's operation in Verdansk has to be destroyed! Get me out of this fucking chair!
First, we're gonna fix you. Trust me. This is gonna hurt. 16, 23, 9, 8, 14, 13, 22, 18, 7, 11, 14. Adler, we have unfinished business.
reports of multiple explosions in Verdansk. Sounds like our boy did a number on the place. Get him up. We need to go.
Oh, God. What have I done? Shake it off. It wasn't you. We're gonna finish what you started.
We've got a job to do.
With Adler back, they headed to Verdansk to investigate some explosions, and a few days later, they would find Kuzmin near a grave.
Adler, you took your time. It's over. Your sick experiment is done. 12, 19, 14.
Don't waste your breath. I'm clean.
I figured. It was worth a try. My work was finished before your little act of rebellion. This changes nothing.
Tell me where Perseus is.
You never understood. Perseus was never one man. It's an ideal. Bigger than any of us.
Oh, spare me your horse shit. Where the fuck is Perseus?
Right here. Cancer took him in '83. No. A great man with great vision. He was not the first Perseus, just as I will not be the last.
You're coming with me. There's blood on your hands.
Big words from the Scourge of Verdansk.
Fuck you. I wasn't in my right mind. You saw to that.
You Westerners. So squeamish. Look at where we are. This was the Eastern Front. The blood of millions of my people so deep into this soil. Men and women who paid the ultimate price for what had to be done.
You're a fucking monster. I should kill you for what you've done. For what you did to me.
My life no longer matters. Do what you will. Finish what you started on Rebirth Island. My broadcast was complete. I have changed the world, Adler. In ways you can't even imagine.
And a couple days after the death of Kuzmin, Adler and his team found an underground Nazi bunker. Now, this seems to be the last time that we see Adler for a long time. Currently, Russell Adler is off the grid once again and apparently on the run. Something occurred during 1984 to 1991, and it is now believed, at least from the intel that we have received from Frank Woods, that Russell Adler has actually been a mole this whole time, and he is now wanted by the United States government. Something, however, feels wrong or feels off about this. I don't think that Adler is the mole, and I believe that he is being framed. We will have to see what happens when Adler returns in Black Ops 6. This has been the current story and the life of Mystery Man Russell Adler.